Hi. Bet you haven't seen me in a while. It's that time. It's time to just talk about some of the movies I loved this year. Just my top 10 movies. That's about it. Nothing too fancy. I didn't see everything I wanted to this year. Obviously, this is completely subjective. These are just the movies I love. I just want to talk about some of my favorite movies. That's it. That's really all I'm here for. So I don't want to waste any more time. Let's just jump right into it.
I love movies. Gosh, I love movies. I love watching them, and I love making them.
The Fablements was as close as you get nowadays to like your typical kind of Oscar baity movie. It's about movies. It's about people who love movies and just the appreciation of the craft, and it totally worked for me. It's about a kid who loves movies, which I heavily relate to, who wanted to make movies and just spent a lot of time making movies, which very much relates to me. And I think that's the biggest strength this movie has, is that it's just supremely relatable to anybody who loves movies, and especially filmmaking in general. It just has that element to it, and there's just something about it that's just like, it just feels awesome. And it's just that Spielberg magic, man. Everything he touches is just gold. Like, he just takes the simplest stories, the simplest little adventures, whatever, anything he does, he just elevates just because he's Spielberg, and he just has that magic to it. And The Fablemans is no exception. It just works for me. It's really, really great. It's a pretty simple kind of family drama, but it just really worked for me, and it has one of my favorite endings of the year.
Pictures, movies, films, cinema.
Babylon is just wild and crazy, and I loved it. Damien Chazelle is one of my favorite directors right now. I've loved everything that he has done so far, from Whiplash to La La Land to First Man. This movie was so different from everything else he's done, which was really exciting for me to watch as an audience member. I wanted to see what he would do with something that was kind of like off the walls and more comedic. And turns out it's awesome. He's really great at that stuff. He really does a great job at directing the spectacle. There's so much going on at any given moment, and he really directs this movie well. There's so many different moving parts, and it takes a lot of work to bring that together. So props to Damien Chazelle for bringing it all together in the way that he did. The performances in here, of course, are great. Diego Calva is a great lead. Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie are just so much fun to watch, as they always are. They bring so much energy to their roles, and the editing really energizes a lot of this movie. It's over 3 hours long, and the editing makes it only feel like it's about 2.5, which is really, really awesome. Yeah, this movie is just a blast. It's crazy and super irreverent, but it's a lot of fun.
No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. 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 No.
Nope is the type of blockbuster that we just don't get anymore. Jordan Peele really ups his game from us and crafts a really entertaining, thrilling, thought-provoking blockbuster that is all about spectacle, and yet at the same time still feels really grounded. And that's thanks largely in part to Keke Palmer and Daniel Kaluuya's amazing performances. They have such great chemistry together. They play off of each other so well, yet they're so different of characters, and it's really interesting to examine kind of how different the characters are, how they process and react to all the things that are happening in the movie. It's really, really interesting, and the movie just presents a lot of different ideas that just really stick with you, and it really makes you think about what the movie is all about. And I think that's the magic of Nope, that Nope can simultaneously be a simple, easy to understand, fun to enjoy blockbuster for anybody who's just casually going to the movies, but it also offers a lot of depth and a lot of room to look into below the surface of the film and really understand what it's about and understand what it's trying to say. It pleases both of those groups really, really well. Nope is just great. I loved it. I'm excited to rewatch it again.
Look at us. We're adorable.
Marcel the Shell with Shoes On is easily contender for the most wholesome thing I've ever seen in my entire life. What is not to love about Marcel? Marcel is just so adorable, and this film is so charming, and it's just great. I was like tearing up the whole time. It's just so heartfelt. It's funny. It's cute. It's everything that you need. This is also the first A24 film that's like designed for families that anybody can watch. Even The Farewell, which was also PG, had a lot of heavier themes and a lot of heavier story beats, but this is just charming, fun for the whole family. Anybody can enjoy it, which is really exciting because I love A24. I want to share it with people, and this is a nice gateway into showing what A24 has to offer, especially to my family and friends. I'm really excited for what A24 is going to do in the family-friendly realm. I think they can make some really, really great family movies, and this is just the perfect starter for that.
Here comes the aeroplane.
I've always had a soft spot for the original Top Gun. There's just something about it, the action, the story, the camaraderie. There's just something about it that I just love. It really draws me to it. And Top Gun Maverick takes all of the best parts about that first film and just takes it to the max. First off, I mean, this film is one of the most gorgeous looking films of the year. The cinematography is amazing. I love how they just strap cameras to the planes that Tom Cruise is flying, and they just film it, and it adds like an extra layer of immersion whenever you're watching it. And I'm so glad I got to watch this in theaters because I just felt so immersed the whole time. Anytime Tom Cruise was in the air, it was awesome. And the story here's like simple, but it's different from the first one, and it just works so well here. I especially love Maverick's character and what they do with him and his dynamic with Rooster. It's really, really interesting. It's a great continuation from the first one, and it builds to a really awesome climax with the two characters. It's just great, man. This is the stuff movies are made for. It's just pure awesome.
I don't need this menu. No, I don't.
The menu was nothing like I expected at all. I loved the trailers. I really enjoyed the vibe. I thought it was going to be a typical thriller film, and I was very wrong. Now, granted, it definitely is a thriller. There's a lot of thrilling elements. There's a lot of thrilling moments, but it's a satire at its core, which I had no idea was a satire. But I love the commentary that this movie gives on criticism culture, on obsession culture, and the movie is consistently hilarious, while also offering these really thoughtful and interesting themes for us to kind of marinate with throughout the film. The film has really shocked me in the ways that it's like opened up conversations with a lot of friends on art and how we consume art, how we respond to art, how we critique art. It's really, really interesting, and I've really enjoyed a lot of the conversations that have stemmed from it. It's become one of the most thought-provoking movies of the year, which has really shocked me because I thought it was just going to be a straight thriller film. Man, I could go on and on about this movie. I love it. I have sung its praises to everybody that I've talked to. It's really, really great. If you love thrillers and you love satires, you got to check this one out.
Layers! Onions have layers.
I'm a huge fan of the first Knives Out. I absolutely love what Rian Johnson did with that film. I've watched it so many times. I found it to be so rewatchable. And when I found out that Rian Johnson was doing a sequel to it and bringing back Benoit Blanc with a whole new mystery, whole new different cast of characters, I was really excited. And man, does he do it again. Rian Johnson, man, him and Daniel Craig can make as many of these movies as he wants. I'm here for it every single time. This movie's great. I love this movie so much. I kind of liken this movie to like an entire cinematic meal. There's excitement and laughter and intrigue, and it's just so much fun. I could go on and on about this movie. I don't want to say too much because the less you know going into this, the better. But man, Rian Johnson once again knocks it out of the park. And like I said, as long as him and Daniel Craig are making great movies, as long as they want to keep making these movies, I'm here for it every time.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
It was so hard not putting this movie at number one because I love Everything Everywhere All at Once. Everybody has talked about this movie a lot, and so I don't think there's too much that I can add to this movie of why I love it, but it's just excellent. Everything that you could possibly want in a movie is here. It's action-packed. It's hilarious. There's a super compelling family drama at the center. It's inventive. It's creative. It's everything that you could possibly want. It's just awesome. It's just so great. And not only does it have those action, comedy, and drama elements, it's a perfect balance of all of those things too. It knows when it's exciting and action-packed. It knows when it's being hilarious and bonkers and off the walls and goofy. It knows when it needs to take itself seriously and bring on the emotional moments. It's just excellent. Everything about this movie is so good, and if you haven't watched it, watch it. Give it a chance. It might look weird. It might take you a while to get into it, but I promise you'll be sold on the movie by the end of it. It's so good. I love this movie.
Top of the morning, Chili's.
There's just so much to love about the Banshees of Inisherin. Martin McDonagh easily gives us my favorite script of the year. The dialogue is just so subtle and perfect and real. The story goes in some pretty dark places, but it never feels over-dramatized or blown out of proportion. It feels all very realistic and grounded, but you are so invested in these characters, invested in this conflict that they find themselves in, and you really feel attached to them. I also love how this film never makes you choose between Padrac and Colum. Both characters have their reasons for thinking the way they do and responding to this conflict in the way that they do, but the film never makes you pick a side. It allows you to root for both of them and to root for this friendship to come back together, but you understand both sides, but you also want to just see them make up. And it's just really, really clever how the script does that and never villainizes either side. You understand both sides of the conflict. But easily the best part about this film is the subtlety. There is just so much going on beneath the surfaces in the performances, in the dialogue, in the script, in just little things that are just gradually building this conflict, and it works, man. Everything about this film is great. If you haven't watched it, it's on HBO Max. Please check it out. It's easily the film that I'm rooting for in awards season this year, unless my number one can sneak in somehow. I mean, it's not like you didn't see this coming. I mean, it's the Batman. It's the Batman. What more can I say? It's the Batman. It's the movie that I've watched the most this year. It's the movie that I've talked about the most this year. It's the movie I've thought about the most this year. It's just my favorite movie of the year, and there's nothing more that I can really say about it. I mean, so many people have already talked about like what makes this film so great, and I feel like I have nothing to add to that other than just, man, I really loved it, and I can just kind of give my subjective perspective on it, but it's just so good. Everything about this film is great. I love the take on the Batman. I love how personal it feels and how invested you are in Robert Pattinson's performance, which, by the way, is so good, and I'd probably say it's my favorite Batman performance ever. The vibe of this movie is great. I love the 70s crime noir kind of feel of it. Honestly, the thing that I've appreciated the most about this film is that with each iteration of Batman that we've gotten over the last 20, 30 years or so, we really get to dive more and more into Batman's inner psyche. With like the Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher films, we get just a little taste of that. With the Christopher Nolan films, we get a huge jump into his past and his fear and stuff like that. And here we get to see a lot of his inner psyche, which is, of course, brilliantly portrayed by Robert Pattinson. But I just love how much we get to learn about this iteration of Batman. It feels the most true to Batman and the way he feels, especially early on in his crime fighting days. Just the anger and the rage that he feels it, and how he uses his vengeance and the persona of Batman to kind of exercise all of that. It's just really fascinating, and I really love that take on the Batman. It's so good. I love this movie. Again, I don't know what I can say that is gonna like add anything to the conversation of why this movie is great. I just love it. I'm a DC guy. I love this movie, man. It's just so good. I love the Batman. It's my favorite movie of the year, without a doubt. And that's it. Thanks for watching. That's my 10 favorite movies of the year. I just love these movies. Want to talk about them. So thanks for watching. Let me know what your favorite movies of the year were. Let me know in the comments. Tell me what I need to watch. I'd love to check them out. I bet a lot of you are probably wondering where I was the past year. considering that I said I was going to do some stuff with this channel, and spoiler alert, I ended up not doing anything with this channel. So I'll make a separate video kind of addressing a lot of that and just kind of talking about what happened and why I ended up not really making anything this year on my YouTube channel. So that'll come in a separate video. But again, thanks for watching, you guys. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.